Sydney has recorded 105 new cases in the past 24 hours. Authorities say 27 were infectious while in the community. The city has stepped into a stricter lockdown today. For 3 local government areas, residents can no longer leave their local area for work, except if they're in emergency services, health, education, manufacturing and some retail. Here's Ashley Raper in Sydney.
Jessica, sadly we've had news today that there has been another death in New South Wales from COVID-19. Now, there are very few details about this case, but we do know that it is a woman in her 90s and she lived in southwestern Sydney and she died in hospital yesterday. Now, overall across Greater Sydney there are 105 new cases. 66 of those cases can be linked and the majority of the cases are still focused in southwestern Sydney. 76 cases in fact were from that area. Now, the crucial number that everybody has been watching, which is the ticket to freedom here in Greater Sydney to get us out of lockdown, and that is the number of cases that were infectious in the community. And today there were 27 cases who were infectious in the community and a further 7 that were infectious in the community for part of their infectious period. So at least 34 people were out infectious in the community, and that number really needs to be 0 before the lockdown ends, and the Premier keeps repeating that over and over again. Now, because that number has been consistently high, the number of cases that are out in the community while infectious, there were harsher restrictions brought in, or it's really a harder lockdown. And one of the big elements of that was announced yesterday was closing many retail stores, and they closed today. There's also further construction sites will shut down from midweek, and there are harsh restrictions around southwestern Sydney too. But the Premier says at this stage we're not going to see a shift in the numbers here in Greater Sydney for a number of days to see the results, hopefully, of this harder lockdown.
We won't see the effects of these harsher restrictions until at least 5 or 6 days, because there's a lag in the data. So we don't expect to see that number shift massively for the next few days, but we still want the community to be more vigilant than ever before, because I'm convinced that working together we will start to see those numbers nudge.
As part of the restrictions, the harsher lockdown that was announced yesterday, part of that was focused on 3 local government areas in southwestern Sydney, and that was Canterbury, Bankstown, Fairfield and Liverpool. And the directive yesterday was people who live in those areas can't leave home for work unless they are deemed essential. And yesterday the indication was that those essential workers were basically just going to be emergency service workers and healthcare workers. But late last night that there was a list that was much more extensive than people first thought, or what was indicated at the press conference yesterday by the Premier. And really now they're calling what you can leave your house for as authorised work, and it includes a number of retail places you can go, manufacturing workers, people who work in telecommunications. So it's quite a lengthy list, and that is on the New South Wales Health website. So there'll be a lot of people today who yesterday weren't expecting to go to work on Monday will be able to go on work to Monday. It was put to the Premier, does such a lengthy list in defining what is essential or work, does that make it confusing for people? And the Premier indicated that this is their best advice at the moment, and if it doesn't work out, or if over the week if numbers don't move, she hinted, Jessica, that they might tighten that list.
The New South Wales Police Minister David Elliott has been speaking in the past hour and issued a stern warning to Sydney-siders who continue to flout the rules.
There is a small, noisy minority of people who are still flouting the laws, and New South Wales Police, as well as the New South Wales Government, are appealing to people to make sure they understand and comply. The Dope of the Day award goes to the 7 people in West Guildford who went out to play soccer yesterday in direct contradiction to the health orders and didn't even have a soccer ball. So if people want to push the envelope, they will join the 240 people who in the last 24 hours were given $1,000 tickets. The police have briefed me on the situation with the removalist and further investigations are occurring. Those people can expect to be before the court where they are subject to a 6-month prison sentence. I think it's important for the message to get out that the New South Wales Government and the New South Wales Police are appealing to people Stop thinking about how you can game the system. Stop thinking and planning on how you can get away with breaking the rules. Start thinking about how quickly we can get out of lockdown. But we can't do it while people continue to flout the law, continue to breach the health orders and continue to spread this very, very dangerous virus. It is the movement of individuals that will continue to prolong this lockdown. It isn't the 99.9% of the population that is doing the right thing. So please don't stop planning on how you can get away with breaching the health orders and start planning about how you can get back to your normal life after this lockdown is finished.